Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Golden Spotlight. I'm your host, Rob Flores, and if this is your very first time watching the show, this show is a biography-themed show where pretty much I interview my guests and have them share their life story. So at this time, I would like my guest to please introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Marr. I am a Texas-based actress and model.
What was childhood like? Did you grow up with siblings? How was
Yeah.
elementary?
Did I grow up with siblings? I have one sibling. I have one younger sibling. So I actually immigrated with my parents from the Philippines. So I'm first generation Filipino in Texas. We came after I think like 2 years or like a year and a half after like my dad was like all settled, and I came here about like eight or nine. Yeah, eight or nine. And I've grown up in Texas with my brother. He's like 2 years younger than me. His name's Brian. He's pretty cool. We're pretty chill, you know. um, but yeah, I only have one sibling. I wish I had more though. I feel like that would have been so fun.
What was life growing up over there, like the Philippines?
In the Philippines, well, I remember it. We lived in like a little it wasn't like the city. It wasn't like Manila, even though I was born in Manila. I pretty much remember like my whole family was like in that little tiny town. Like we would just like walk down the street and that's where my family was. Um, but I remember like the food. I remember like my friends, how school was like, because I think I was in first or second grade when I had left, and it was a culture shock, but because I was like so young, it wasn't too bad, you know. I assimilated pretty quickly. I learned English pretty quickly too because we had English in the Philippines. Um, yeah, I it was fun. It was a fun and interesting experience growing up. Very fun
I
and
like the
interesting
difference in
experience.
like the schooling over there too.
Oh yeah, honestly, like am I am I supposed to be, is it okay if I'm like honest on here?
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh my gosh, I was like, oh my gosh, there's not any Filipinos. Why is everyone like different? Like look at the different foods. There's so many white people. Everyone's speaking English. It was interesting. Yeah, it was very interesting. I didn't have a lot of Filipino friends until like my dad like introduced us to, like the Filipino community in Texas. Um, so that it got better after that. But yeah, it was really silly. Like the little kid thoughts that you have, like, oh my gosh, I've never tasted this food before. What is a corn dog? What is a what's a corn dog? Like, yeah, it was cool. And like the desserts too. I was like, wow, they're not that great. I was like, I thought Filipino desserts were so much better than American ones, but obviously, like my taste has evolved. So yeah, it was pretty fun growing up. Yeah.
You know the language and stuff too.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I I I was fluent obviously back then, but I guess now I only speak with my parents in Tagalog. Um, but other than that, like it's if you start talking to me in like super deep like Tagalog, then I don't think I can comprehend. But I can get by. Like if you drop me in the middle of the Philippines, I can get by.
I find it fascinating also, like, when I have a guest that, like their parents, were from somewhere else and stuff, and I was wondering, like,
Yeah.
did they ever tell you stories about their upbringing and stuff as well?
Oh yeah, no, I get that all the time. Like my parents were like, in the Philippines, we didn't have this and we didn't have this. You better appreciate this. And I'm like, I get it. My parents are pretty old fashioned, you know. Like, you know, they would go to church with me and they would take us to church and we would go. out on Sundays, and then we'd go to Filipino parties, and then everything would be in like Tagalog. They wouldn't really like speak in English, it's pretty common Filipino thing. And we would have Filipino food. So I grew up with like I would come home Filipino, and then I would go out American. I feel like that's what made my childhood pretty interesting. I feel like a lot of Filipino Americans and even other minorities can relate that have immigrated to the United States or anywhere else, like balancing that culture and growing up, especially if you're like a teenager and like trying to discover who you are and being two cultures or three cultures at the same time. it's it's interesting, it's difficult, but it's very beautiful.
I heard that like singing is a big thing too.
In the Philippines?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's such a stereotype. It's like if you're Filipino, you're just like super artistic, right? You can sing, you can dance, you can play an instrument. I think a lot of that has to do with, like, I mean, obviously, like the culture in the Philippines revolves around a lot of show business and movies and music and like just like shows and community and stuff like that. And so that's like one of the things that help community come together is through the arts. And so I don't think I can. I'm okay. I'm okay. I can hit a note. I feel like I can hit a note. I love to sing. I do. It's something I've been like recently trying to build on too, because in the past, I've grown up with like traditional, like the Philip, not I wouldn't say, because not every family is this way, but like, oh, you're either going to be a lawyer or an engineer or a doctor or a nurse, and so doing arts was like not a thing, and so I always loved it, and so I felt like I needed to hide it as a child. And now that I'm like I'm a grown woman, and I can choose what I want to do, and I'm more free in that aspect. I have been working on like singing and dancing and stuff, but yeah, no, singing is a big thing in the Philippines. Like it's the bomb. Like if you can sing, showcase it.
Cool. Yeah, I hear karaoke is like a big thing.
Oh no, we love it. We love karaoke. We can go all night, hours. I could go all night.
How about any like holiday traditions or anything like that?
In the Philippines, the Philippines was like prior to like the Spanish, it was like a uh, very prominent like Muslim like faith wise, um, and it wasn't so much like Christians. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm using the right terms. I'm being silly, but yeah, we celebrate Christmas, and like before Christmas, there's like Noche Buena, where you have like a whole like meal before Christmas. Uh, that's pretty much it. I mean, birthdays. I mean, just anything. Filipinos love to celebrate and get together. That's all that matters. Doesn't even matter what it is. Like if it's somebody's birthday, yeah, let's go. If it's someone's like baptism, let's go. Like let's have a party for everything.
So when you were there in the Philippines, to like what grade do you go to when you started coming to American schools?
So I had to start first grade all over again because I was too old to be, no, not too old. I was too young to be in second grade, and so they just put me in first grade again. I don't know. Maybe it's because like they didn't know if I could like speak well, even though I got out of ESL so quickly. It wasn't even. I was like, what is this? It's so easy. And so yeah, I had to come here and start first grade over again, which is fine. I don't mind it. But I didn't flunk. Everyone thought I flunked. I didn't flunk.
So how
I
was elementary here?
elementary school here, I mean, since I came at a super young age, I don't feel like it was too bad of a transition. It's not like if I came to America during fifth grade. Oh my God, there's a bee. Oh God, go away, go away, go away. Um, it's not like I had to transition too too much, or not too much. There wasn't a lot of work. Like, it was easy for me to like assimilate, because I was so young, and so it wasn't too bad. I liked it. There was those moments, culturally speaking, like, the lunchbox moments. Everyone has their lunchbox moment where like your mom or dad makes like your like traditional meal. Like in the Philippines, like you would have the rice, the chicken, like a whole ass meal. Like the soup on this, all of it, like a legit meal, not like the microwave stuff here in America where they like put it in like it's like pre-made and then they like put it in the oven and it's like and then they serve it. Like no, it's like legit, like fresh. Um, and so my mom would make those meals and then I would bring them to school, and then it was the very first time I'd experienced like, oh my gosh, that stinks. Like, oh my gosh, like, you know. And so for a while, for a really long time, I struggled with that because I was like, I don't want to be the weird kid. I don't want to. Why are you cooking this? Looking back at it now, I feel so bad because like my mom took the time to like make those meals for me, and I threw them out because I was so embarrassed of like, you know, what the other kids were saying. And I was a little kid. I was like first grade, second grade, and even third grade. Um, I was like embarrassed. I was like, can you just make normal food? Can you just make me a sandwich like all the other kids? Can I buy my lunch so I can have pizza like the other kids? And you can stop making me like rice with squid and fish and stuff like that a lot of the kids like didn't like, or bullied me for or teased me about. But honestly, that was the one thing about that too. And then I would ask to go sleepover to like some sleep at this spot. I was like, no, I want to go. Everyone's doing it. That's just like an American thing to do, is sleep over each other's houses. Um, but I don't know. I grew up with pretty strict parents. But I didn't know back then. I just thought they were like protecting me.
Did she like stop completely making lunch, or did you eventually go back to like, oh, it's fine making lunch, or
Oh no, she stopped making like Filipino food for me. Yeah, and like looking back at it now, like it hurts to like to think about what she went through when she would hear me say like I don't want to eat this, or like all the kids are teasing me because of the food that I eat. She did start making like Americanized food, like sandwiches, and like at when she even like I didn't realize it. The school lunch would cost money, and I can't imagine how much it cost my parents extra to like provide that thing for me that I wanted so badly to fit in. But yes, and then after that, after I got to high school and I was like a senior, or like I think it was from like 10th to like 12th grade, I really did not care anymore. I was like, no, I love this. I think it was in high school that I found a community that I could relate to, so I could be Filipino at school because there were so many other Asian classmates that I had that I could like hang out with, and so they understood and they could relate to that, and so I felt more comfortable embracing that part of myself. But yeah, that was probably one of the things that regret most was telling my mom to like make more Americanized food, because I probably missed out on so many good meals.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Golden Spotlight. And I'm back here with my guest. If she could please reintroduce herself.
Hi guys, my name is Marr. I'm a Texas-based actor and model.
Going back to your story with school. Um, so as you were going through elementary and stuff, the timeline of like when your brother also started school, how did that go about? Was he having trouble too, and did you kind of like talk to him, stuff?
Oh no, he was having so much fun. He was so young. He was so young and he was having so much fun. And I mean, granted, like he was also an ESL and he struggled a little bit. I think he's more like Americanized than he assimilated well too. Like he made a lot of friends, and I mean kids are fun, like kids don't really care like what you look like the little ones, like he was in kindergarten. Kindergartners don't really care, I feel, and they just kind of, do you want to play with me? Okay, let's go play. I think during like high school or like elementary school, I think he lost his like native tongue. And even though like our parents, like he still understands it, but even though like our parents would speak, like there wasn't any reason for him to respond back in Tagalog because they also understood English. So I kind of was like the bridge between that eventually. Yeah, I feel like he had a pretty good time. It was so funny because we like reminisce, and I tell him like, oh my gosh, when you were little, you would not shut up. Like you would speak Tagalog like so fluently, and you would just like go, 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 go. And then now he's like, it's hard for him to grasp that because he's like, no, I can't believe that. Like, that's so weird. I can't imagine myself speaking fluent Tagalog. Um, but yeah, I think he had an okay time transitioning to.
How many grades was he like? Of like the gap between you and him?
This is so bad. I should know that. Well, we're 2 years apart, so I guess like a grade below me, a grade below me.
So did you guys get to like hang out during lunch?
Oh no, we like avoided each other. Yeah, we were that sibling. Yeah, because I was like the straight A student and he was like the troublemaker, and so we would embarrass each other, like, oh, she's your sister, and so people like a bunch of teachers would like expect him to be like a smarty pants like me, and then be disappointed when they like had this super goofy guy in their class.
You know how in the movies where like you have these groups that hang out, like the athletic ones and the nerdy ones and stuff like that? Did you
Yeah.
guys like associate with certain groups?
In high school, I was a total loser. Like I had like braces, I had zits, I didn't know how to do my makeup, my hair was a mess. I didn't know what fashion was. I didn't know who I was fashionably speaking. And then I think my brother's pretty chill. Like he got along with so many different kinds of people, which is really great. But he was also in orchestra too, so I think a lot of his friends were like also nerds. we just we just didn't, because we were in different grades, and so we didn't like come together as often. But I think we were both in like nerdy groups. But he definitely got along with more people, I feel. I was very quiet in high school, like so quiet. It's crazy because if you compare me to then, it's like, who is this person? A lot can change for real.
So like during high school and stuff, like certain things that you guys were like interested in, like favorite subjects and stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think my favorite subject was IB French 4. I was in French for like 4 years. four or 5 years, 4 years. I enjoyed it. It was great. I also liked a lot of my creativity were like pushed to the limits in those classes, and I really liked that. And I don't know what my brother's favorite subject was. We definitely talked about it. I definitely forgot. I'm a terrible sister, but yeah, those are my favorite subjects. Oh, and orchestra. I really liked orchestra. Even though I wasn't the best, I still really liked it.
When the time that like high school activities started happening and stuff, like were they a little more lenient afterwards?
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like because I did like a little bit of sports. I did like tennis in middle school, and then I did orchestra throughout my entire uh, uh, um, like high school, and so they're pretty if it like strictly orchestra, they're very proud. Like, oh, like my daughter can play the violin, I mean, they were still pretty strict. Uh, but if it came to like school stuff, they were very willing to like give the yes.
How about senior year? What was that like?
Senior year? Oh my God, senior year was probably one of my favorite years ever. Like senior year was the best. I feel so bad for like all the seniors now that can't go to their prom, can't graduate, like can't go to their like orientation, like early orientation for college. Like that sucks because it was probably one of the best years of my life. I absolutely loved senior year. Like during my entire high school, I was pre-vet. Like I did like a bunch of like pre-vet courses. Like I did like a bunch of science courses, and like I was even in like people are gonna make fun of me, but I was in Future Farmers of America. That like the cattle and like all of that stuff, and I shadowed. And I'm sorry, there's like a plane. I was pre-vet, and then I decided when after senior year, I decided to be like a pre-dent. So,
When it came time to like picking a school, what happened?
oh my gosh. So I initially wanted, because I had chosen pre-dental, Baylor University in Waco, Texas. It's a private school, so it's super expensive. I got accepted. I saw the tuition. I was like, no, no way. And then I got accepted to UNT, which is like the University of North Texas in Denton. And I chose that instead because it was also very close to my family at the time. I wanted to get away, you know, but I didn't want to be too far from family if there were any emergencies. And my dog, I miss my dog. So I was like, no, we have to go to UNT. So I went to UNT for biology in the pre-dental track.
What was that like? The transition as far as that first week? Did you know anybody? Were you lost? How did that go?
I was nervous, but I took it as an opportunity to step out of my shoes and to be louder than I was in high school and to be someone that I'd always wanted to be. And so I kind of just went out there and just started talking to people. I didn't really care because I mean I didn't, like obviously like I was self-conscious because it's like, oh, like, ooh, like I'm an adult now, this is college, I don't know who I'm going to meet here. I was very open. I was very open to all of the opportunities. I spoke to everybody. I didn't have like a filter at all. I spoke to everybody. It was super exciting. I loved it.
Did you get to partake in like clubs and stuff?
Oh yeah. So I was actually I was active in the UNT Pre-Dental Society. I ran for an officer position there too. And so after, I think I ran for a position like 3 semesters, I think. I forgot, but I definitely ran. I was active in that. And I also rushed a sorority. It wasn't Greek. It wasn't like Panhellenic or like faith based, and so I joined that instead. And I was very involved, and I ran for like a leadership position in that too. So I was treasury, and I was also like spiritual chair for a while. And what else? Oh, I was also very involved in my faith community. I went to church all the time, and it was great. I absolutely love getting to know people in my faith and getting to share that experience with um, others, like young adults in my faith. So yeah.
So you dormed?
Yes, I did for 3 years. I did. I dormed for 3 years. It was so fun. It was so fun. I'm so glad I did, because if I had been stuck here, like at home for 3 years, I don't know how I would have made it. I probably would be like a very different person, because living on campus was, a way for you to like immerse into the community and be active in all of the events. But yeah, I was there for like 3 years. It was great. I loved it, all of it.
Were you homesick though? What did your parents think?
I was kind of a rebel, and so I was honestly not that much homesick, except for the fact that I missed my brother and like playing with my dog. Like I was in my own headspace. Like I didn't really think about like, oh, what's going on at home? Like this is my life now. Like why would I be worrying about that? Even though my whole point was to like be close to family. But I really wasn't that homesick, because I had so many things going on that I could keep my mind on. So it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad.
How different was the path you took to what your brother did?
So so I was in the healthcare field, and he's more like tech. He was doing like computer science. I think he's still doing computer science, but more like the business aspect of it now. Um, yeah, he's very tech, and I was very healthcare for sure.
So did he turn to you for like advice and stuff when he was gonna start school?
When he started school, I mean, honestly, I feel like he didn't at the time. I felt like he was trying to deal with it on his own. Um, I mean, I definitely helped him out, like I was like the guinea pig of the family. So of course, everyone turned to me. But yeah, I mean, he was pretty fine. He was okay.
So books can be expensive and stuff. Did you have to work at the same time?
Well, thank goodness for it's kind of a double-edged sword. Thank goodness for loans. I was able to pay for my like textbooks and stuff with my loan money. And I did work junior year. So I was a dental assistant at a dental office, and that's how I was interning at the time. And that was a good amount of money, just to like pay for things, just like, oh, I need notebooks, or I want some food just to help with groceries and stuff. Or like when I wanted to go out.
What happened after graduating?
Oh my gosh. So, oh, okay. Well, what happened was I had graduated, and I was like, I don't know if I want to go to dental school. And so I took off a year, and then I started writing, and I started documenting, things that I liked, like hobbies, just to deal with the impending doom of adulthood. And so I did that. I blogged for a little bit, I wrote, and then I started doing photography, and then I went into photography, and then I started modeling, and then here we are, and I'm an actor. It's definitely like more detailed than that, but yeah, that's pretty much how that went. There's a lot of discerning and thinking about what I wanted to do with my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back after this quick break. I like to call this segment the timeline, and it's pretty much listing all the jobs you held leading up to where you are today.
Oh gosh, I feel so bad. I feel so bad. I don't have that much. I don't have that many jobs. Okay, so I guess my first job was at a Gap outlet. Not not interesting. It's just for retail. And then I was pretty jobless for like the majority of the rest of the time, like between that time and my next job. I think my next job was being a dental assistant. So I was a dental assistant in an office. Um, and then after that, I went back to retail and I was a stylist for a brand called Aritzia for a little while. And now I am a model and actress, and I do that full time. It's something that it's always been in the back of my head. I always loved movies, and I always loved the arts. I always loved singing and dancing and all of that. And I think it was prime time for me to like decide to finally do it before I regret anything else. Because I don't want to do that. I don't want to. It's so morbid, but I don't want to lay in my deathbed and be like, "God dang, I could have done that. I would have been really good." But I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
So, like, did you know someone at the time that was already doing that, or how did you go about it?
No, like none of my friends. Actually, like because I was so involved in my like studies and stuff, like pre-dental and things like that. All of my friends were either pre-med, pre-dental, healthcare profession. Um, I mean, there's here and there, like there's people in other majors too that I was friends with. But like no, all of the people that I was close with were like in the healthcare career path, and so nobody, nobody. I don't think anybody saw it coming. I didn't even see it coming. Um, it was very like deep in my heart. I had to reflect on it. Yeah. So yeah, none of it. It was. I feel like it was solely like my decision because there was nobody else um, like physically influencing me like in my friend group at the time.
How did you learn about like getting your name out there and stuff, and like how to like get acting work?
There was a lot of research that I did. Um, it was seeking help from like professionals too. So the first time I did some research and um, with my modeling too, like professional modeling, I was able to gain knowledge about agencies and how that worked out and what was legitimate and what was not legitimate because people are always scamming out here, you know. Um, and so with that modeling, like model industry knowledge, I took that and I tried to incorporate that into my acting. And so I looked for like a legitimate like acting coach in like the Dallas Fort Worth area, and I found one, and then we talked about it, and I did more research, and that's just kind of how I found my way. You know, you just find resources and people you that do it and connect and just ask questions. Honestly, that's all I did. I asked questions and I actively pursued it.
How expensive is it though to like get a coach?
It depends. It depends on the coach and what they provide. Mine was pretty expensive, but it I learned a lot, so it was definitely worth it. And I love her; she's so great. And there's plenty of workshops to go to as well. Like you don't have to just stick with one, you know, which is super fun because you get to explore different like techniques and like different teaching styles of different teachers and just get to meet different people.
So like when you're trying to get a role and stuff, like how did you go about there's so many like technical terms and stuff like that, like
Hmm.
unions and non-unions and all that stuff.
Yeah. Um, Again, like research. Like I didn't know any of it. No one was there to help me like with the acting stuff. I literally just I mean, I had like pushes from people and from my modeling, but it was just you had to look it up. You're like if you heard like a new word, you were like, I don't know what this is, let me look it up. You know, what do I have to do and like what do I need to, even to like submit and stuff. So that was I felt like that was really fun for me because I really like learning anyway. And so gaining information and how I could pursue what I wanted to pursue in a professional way was important to me because again, I grew up in like the like a very professional like background with like healthcare wise too. You have to be very professional and you can't just you can't just dilly dally kind of, you know, like um but yeah, it was very helpful. Because people always think that, oh, like I could just like audition for this or like I mean you can, yeah, but there's also like a way I feel like that you need to respect the industry and being professional and knowing your material and understanding the terms and how things are because yeah, out of like respect for the artist and everybody that's like involved in a project.
How was your family's reaction to like going to a completely different field?
uh it was hard. It was hard. um all I can say is they just want me to be happy is yeah, because for a really long time I hadn't told them, and honestly I think only one of my parents like actually know what I'm doing right now. um it's there's like a there's like that fear of disappointing, and so um it was very hard to like get past that, but you know, we're all grown here, we can talk, and I think they just want me to be happy.
So I heard that like for acting, people's resumes is like their headshots and stuff like that. Like how did you go about doing that stuff?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like honestly looking at my resume now, it's not the best. Like I started legitimate like professionally acting like not even 7 months ago. I had modeled and done gigs and I'd like walk shows and stuff. So I was pretty like I knew like what went on behind the scenes and stuff like that, but not with acting. Yeah, no, like your resume is super important. Like just do the work. I mean, even if it's like not a lot of money, just do it. Put on your resume for experience. Just experience everything. Get good headshots too. Um, a lot of the time, like because I obviously like we all are isolated right now. Um, there's like options to like do your own headshots and study the photography of it. And it's also like very important to take your time with the headshots, um, and choose the right ones because that's initially what they're going to look at and uh, what's going to catch their eye, like casting directors and whatnot.
And I hear that there's like websites and stuff where I, I don't know. I guess most of them are paid in order to like find roles.
Oh yeah, there's some that like uh, you can like subscribe to, like it's like a subscription, and you can just get like access to a bunch of castings for big projects, small projects, commercials, depending on what you want. And then also like there's like resources outside of that. Like if you were on a set one time or if you did work, you know, like your network, your private, your personal network of people that you've met for like past gigs and stuff, like you can always connect with them outside of all of that media.
Are there any particular ones that you recommend?
Oh yeah, no, backstage for sure. Backstage for sure. Actors Access. What is it? There's like another one. I don't really go on it that much. Uh, Dallas Castings. There's also like groups on Facebook and stuff that you can like look up.
Um, so you were mentioning about your brother and wrestling and stuff. What were your interests, growing up? What did you guys watch?
Oh my gosh, you know, it's just like the OG like Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, all of it. Like so good. You know, we'd wake up in the morning and watch like her Saturday morning like anime and all of that. Like I loved anime back then. He didn't really like anime back then because the subtitles. I loved it. Yeah, no, most of the time I had my head stuck in a book. And so I would always read. I would read all the time. Like it was crazy. I have so many books that I read when I was a kid. It was yeah. I always loved being inside my head, like imagining stuff. That was my deal. That was my thing. And it's my thing now because I'm currently doing what I do.
What were some of those anime and cartoons that you watched?
Oh my god. Okay, so ironically, I didn't watch Naruto, but you know, like I watched like One Piece, um, Inuyasha. Um, what's another one? Um, I watched so many I had forgotten. Parts of like Sailor Moon. I watched that. Uh, what is it? Bleach. Um, there's another one I forgot. The ones that weren't quite anime as well, like they were on like CW and stuff. Um, you know, just like cartoons, like Saturday morning cartoons.
Like Animaniacs or
Pardon?
Animaniacs or
No, I didn't watch that one. I didn't. Yeah, I watched like what is it? I don't think it counts as an anime, but I would definitely watch Yu-Gi-Oh and like Digimon and like Pokemon and all of that stuff.
you mentioned
Yeah.
Cartoon Network too. What was that? What programs?
Oh my God, I watched, okay, you know, like the Ed, Ed and Eddie, like Johnny Bravo, like uh, Powerpuff Girls. Oh my gosh, Totally Spies, Totally Spies. You can't say no to Totally Spies. Teen Titans. What else? Just Billy and Mandy. Did I already say that? Yeah, Billy and Mandy. Oh, Dexter's Laboratory, like all of it. Oh, Cat and Dog. But wait, no, that's Nickelodeon. That's Nickelodeon. Cat and Dog is Nickelodeon. Yes, it is. I think.
So, what about like Dragon Ball Z?
Oh my God, we watched that. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we watched that too. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I watched Dragon Ball Z for sure. Yeah.
Do you still watch any of that stuff, or?
Oh yeah, I love anime. Like I think the anime I'm watching right now, I think I have it on my queue. Um, I'm gonna like after this interview, I'm gonna go watch Violet Evergarden, like the movie on Netflix. I think I watched like the first movie already, and this is like the new one that came out. Um, I watch all the big anime, um, like Demon Slayer, Boku no Hero, uh, where is it? Doctor Stone. Um, there's like so many other ones. You know, just like the OG ones, like Full Metal, Alchemist, uh, Fate Stay Night, and all the different ones.
When did you first discover about the Corona stuff, and how has that affected things too for you?
Oh my God. Well, in Texas, they closed. they started closing things down, like I think the beginning of like March. Um, yeah, like mid early March, and then we're still in quarantine now. But apparently, some like Texas businesses are gonna start opening up, and I don't believe that we should be doing that. I feel like we should continue to stay in like social distancing state, because the virus doesn't just go away like that, you know. Yeah, it's affected everyone so immensely with like jobs and like socially too. There's been a lot of people who have been like racist to like the Asian communities here in Texas. I mean, honestly, we're in the South. There's already so much racism going on. It's even more so because of the virus, and yeah, it deeply saddens me.
How difficult has it been, for your family too?
It's been hard because my mom actually works for uh, like a grocery store, and so it was very difficult for her to like experience that, and like work conditions weren't the best. Um, and then everyone's just kind of like at home doing like their own work. School shut down, so like online schooling. I can't travel to places anymore for like work right now. All production has stopped. Um, it's been hard. It's been really hard, and so it angers me, or yeah, it definitely does. It irritates me when like people don't stay home and think of others and their community and what that might be doing to people, even though they're not showing signs of the virus.
How's your brother and dad taking it?
Oh, they're doing okay. They're doing okay. My dad's like working from home, and my brother's doing like online classes, so it's not too bad. But it's yeah, it's still a change.
The news is so depressing. Um,
Dude, yeah, it
yeah,
really is. If you go on Twitter, it's even more depressing.
yeah. That's why I was wondering, like, how have you been handling like you and your family whenever you turn on the TV?
Hmm. Yeah. Um, I think at one point it's you have to watch it though. You have to immerse yourself in different media to understand what's happening and to understand different perspectives of something, because you can't just listen to one news network and just base off of your opinion on that, you know. So I mean, my parents have been doing a pretty good job getting like continuing to be informed, and if we kind of like help each other, like if we find like new information to give to one another and to like keep each other safe and healthy, like we do that. We like share with one another, and we send things like through like messages and stuff like that. But at some point, it's like it can be like hard. It's like super devastating, and it like builds anxiety for my parents too, because like they worry. They have like a family to like take care of. That's how they've always functioned, and so watching that is like really terrifying, and like hearing about like everybody's stories and people losing jobs and people dying, and it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. But we've been continuing to keep ourselves informed, because that's what you have to do. You have to be informed.
Um, when did you guys first learn? What was your reaction when people started talking about like masks and stuff?
Honestly, for me, it wasn't like, well, I already know, like, I don't know. Honestly, it freaked me out because people would always like bash other people, like at the airport, like if they were wearing masks, like, oh, like you're sick. But no, now everyone's wearing masks, you know, we kind of like, it kind of dawned on us like how great the situation was when people started to like incorporating masks into everyday life. Um, yeah, it's so crazy. Sometimes I can't fathom. Like I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, wow, this is what a time. What a time to live because it's hard.
Yeah. Um,
It's like what you see in movies, you know, like, oh my gosh, and this is actually happening. It's real. What is so important about like your consumerism that you need to like you're putting all of these other people's like lives in danger? I don't understand. I can't. And so many of, again, like coming from like the healthcare, coming from a healthcare perspective too, I understand how like busy um clinics could be, how busy doctors can be, and like what that may entail. And you know, like it's very selfish for people to not follow these instructions to social distance and to stay healthy as best as we can for our community and for other people.
where do you see yourself after retirement?
After retirement, oh, I see myself in California by the beach, chilling, drinking a nice cold alcoholic beverage with my dogs, with my family. It's going to be great. It's going to be so great.
The other part is, what would you like your legacy to be?
Oh, my legacy? Well, I mean, I guess like I just want to be remembered as a really good human. Like, I want someone to be like, if someone remembers me, like, oh yeah, Marr was there for me. Yeah. Marr made me feel like I was special. Or like, she made some really good movies. She was so funny, like stuff like that. It's just the little things.
What was it like your first production in acting?
Oh my god, it's my first one. It was like a commercial for um, this taco place in Dallas. It was fun because literally I got paid for 2 hours to just stuff my face. It was so fun.
Now that the corona pretty much kind of stopped stuff, like what's going on as far as acting?
A lot of productions have been like put on hold, but there's a lot of like self-taping going on. Um, there's a lot of like online productions and like uh, online classes and things like that. So even though people haven't been meeting up to be on set and stuff, like I feel like people are still working. It's just a little harder. I'm very lucky and blessed that I'm living with my family. A lot of people aren't living with their families, um, and they have that basic like expense of like rent to like worry about in addition to um, acting. It's just hard, especially in the industry. A lot of actors take on like part-time jobs, and those part-time jobs are no longer available to them because of the virus. Um, but yeah, it has greatly affected me, but I'm sure not as great as some other people.
So another thing I like to say is, um, you never know who could be listening to the show, and chances are there is a student out there who, there's something about this particular episode's guest who, I don't know, it could be their upbringing, it could be, the degrees they pursued, some experiences they mentioned, maybe the career that they're in that, they feel they can relate to them, or they're like, oh, like I want to be where they are today. Um, what tips do you have?
Oh my God. Yeah, for sure. I think whatever you're doing now, just just live it. And if something is calling to you, try it. Because I think what honestly this pandemic has taught everyone is that um, let's stop and think about who we are outside of all of these expectations and to-do lists and like our jobs, like who are we outside of it? And so are we happy? Pursue your happiness and be true to who you would like to be, because at the end of the day, like, you gotta go to sleep and you want that good sleep. What I'm talking about. It's gonna be hard. You gotta think about it, but it's all up to you. Like, you have the choice to change it, and there are people out there that are gonna be kind and are willing to propel you in whatever direction your heart is moving towards, if you just believe and just take a leap and just do it.
So, as you were mentioning earlier, due to the corona, a lot of people who they were in their final semester of college, um, they don't know if they're gonna even be able to like ceremonially celebrate graduating. What words do you have for those would be graduating seniors?
Oh gosh, honest, I don't even know how that's gonna go for them. I don't know how that's gonna go, but honestly, you made it this far and you did it. You did it. You're graduating. You just get that certification and just go, Like, honestly, if I were you, I dress up and walk outside, put up signs and like in front of my house and be like, yeah, I graduated, and post it everywhere. Just bask in how great you are. Just bask in how great you are. Like, you did that. You finished. And there's no way Corona is going to get in the way of you showing off your accomplishments. Because there's social media. Come on.
So you were mentioning that you had like a side blog and stuff. Tell us more about that.
Oh my gosh. I did like blogging right after or right before I graduated. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be like, like I wanna travel the world. I wanna do all these fashion cool things, very, very, very basic, very very, very basic viewpoint ever. Because I was very into fashion, and so I wanted to write about that. And so I looked into how to blog, and so I decided to just launch my blog and just write about anything I wanted, specifically like fashion and beauty oriented. And then it turned into more like a marketing thing, and I didn't really like that about my blog, because I felt like I had the responsibility, or like I was obligated to market for brands that I may or may not have supported or felt right about supporting. And so thank goodness I ran out of money, because then I had to reinvest in a new blog, and I thought about just writing from a more personal uh, viewpoint. Like if you were to read my blog, it would be kind of like a life update, like, hey, I'm your big sister, or like, hey, I'm your friend, like, how are you? This is what I'm up to. Like, very personal and simple. Um, More like not too fancy with like the layout or anything, just words with some pictures and raw writing. and that's what I wanted to do, and I did. And I mean, I don't post too regularly. I just post whenever that inspiration hits me, honestly, because I'm the kind of person that's like, I don't want to write about something that I don't truly feel called to write about if I don't, you know? So, yeah, I'm saying I would be a terrible director or like a writer, like a producer. I would hate myself because I would be like, oh, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. I need like 5 more years. And then when I get to, I'm like, no, it's not perfect. I can't. This is not it. Scrap, 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 scrap. I usually have it linked on my Instagram.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yes.
So we are approaching the end of the show, but I was wondering, do you have any closing statement for our audience out there?
For audience, oh my gosh, thank you so much for listening if you made it this far. Because I honestly, I feel like I'm not that special, but thank you. I hope y'all are staying safe and healthy and enjoying the stillness of this time and appreciating how great you are and your capabilities. And yeah, I hope you're just staying at home enjoying yourselves as best as you can. And Rob, thank you so much for having me. It was so fun talking to you. It brings me joy to like talk to people because in isolation it's hard. Thank you so much for having me. You came out of the blue. It was so fun. So funny.
Well, thank you so much for being here on the show.
Oh my gosh.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this edition of the show.